is intuitive channeling and general reading. I feel super, super excited about what's to come. I'm feeling into the dynamicism that I had previously felt would settle into our general collective. I'm also seeing the results of the part of the channeling where I said there'd be a lot of new things coming online, new relationships, new life. I've seen so much pregnancy announcements, so many. Congratulations to anyone in your in your direct community, potentially in our greater collective, who are bringing new life into the world in all forms through ideas, businesses, relationships, actual life. It is literally our divine right, our divine blessing, the act through which we can mirror God by creating anything. So it's all very honorable, very magical, and especially so during this time where energetically we are being influenced by so many things that are actually really, really great. But a lot of people I'm seeing are from their fear, looking at it from a standpoint where it's not great. It's something to, like I said, fear, be scared of, something bad as a result. But regardless of anything, of absolutely anything, of who you are and whether or not you even fuck with me, if you're watching this far and you're seeing this part, know that there's so much good coming for you, for all of us. This is such an exciting period, specifically now that I'm recording this in December 2025. I feel like I'm feeling into, so this is the intuitive channeling part, I'm feeling into the part before something explodes. I think I've said this channeling before, actually. I think I've tapped into this. And I'm fascinated that it keeps going like that, you know? But this time, it feels like the explosion's actually going to happen. It's felt, honestly, as I'm saying this, that we keep arriving to this point of, oh, we're almost there. Oh my gosh, exciting. Things are coming. Yay, it's so much to be happy about. And then we dip again, and then it's dark, and it's very scary and gunky and weird. And I suppose like life cycles happen that way, where it's light and then dark and light and dark. But I think that something about approaching this period of what we just had, darkness, and then coming into the light, I'm feeling the light coming in. I think the arrival of this wave of light is going to be especially effective in locking in the existence and the possibility of heaven, so that next time a darkness comes, and next time we're in our shadow valley, we'll be able to quicker remember that this is just a temporary thing. Darkness is temporary. Like I'd mentioned in, I don't know which reading it was from the one I'm doing this one, but where it said, where I'd quoted this video I saw via Instagram that said, when suffering comes, you appreciate the suffering, you be present with it and know that joy will come. And when joy will come, you are present with it, you appreciate it and know that suffering will come. And you keep riding those waves in acceptance that wherever you're at right now is just the moment, and then it's gone, and then there'll be another moment, and then that will go, and that's life until there are no more moments, and then you die, you know, and then that's it. You go to whatever is after death. Feels like we're also all really tapped into this. We're riding this specific wave of the understanding that this is it, and then we're dead, you know. Maybe there are people in your outstretched community who have experienced grief. I think there are very select few people right now who are the chosen ones, essentially, to experience the center of that grief, where a very close person to you has passed on, or, you know, a close figure of love, a loving pet, aunts and uncles, cousins. Very few where it's parent and child, very few. And if you are going through that, where you're the center of the grief, then my heart is so with you and thank you. This may sound very woo-woo, but I do mean this from the bottom of my heart. I'm so grateful to everybody who is in the pit of grief as it is that you really are the epitome of that statement, being God's strongest soldier. You were chosen. We all are going to have our turn in the valley of grief. You know, we all go through it and we all climb our way out of it. It's part of the ritual of not just living, but of like our energetic washing, or what can I say? Rinsing, kneading, you know, our energy needs to be churned like that in order for opportunities to come for us to change and grow and become whatever. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for doing your work, and I'll see you when it's my turn, you know? There's also that, the acceptance of, sorry. Alu! Oh my word. There is a huge influx of energy that comes in and that specifically hits my kid where he vibrates on a very outbursty, just rah, rah, rah. And it's so out of nowhere. Hi, Susan. Sorry, everyone. Huge outbursts of energy that that supersede energy that I know how to understand or approach. So today is one of those days. It's also, I know, coupled with the excitement. Like, this is what happens when, I suppose, in my life, when the solar flares in particular happen. And I know that we are in the middle of a solar storm right now. The sun, there's a part of the sun that's facing us that emits a kind of inverse energy, to my understanding, that stretches far beyond the way solar flares do. Essentially, if by chance you're feeling energetically fogged, if you're feeling like zapped, or like your energetic body is being done this to, like someone's pressing it thin, you know, where you're like really, really tired, or you have really crazy fluctuations in energy, in moods, in appetite, all of that, yeah, it's the vibes. So be gentle with yourself and others, and don't be surprised. Yeah, just don't be surprised because everything has its root right now. Everything has its intention of how it is like pushing things up and out. Everything is on purpose right now. If you can find it in you to accept that, everything is so intentional right now. We are being squeezed through one of those cosmic tunnels where like lots of fated occurrences are happening, lots of coincidences, lots of internal realizations, or realizations between you and others, shared realizations. You may be experiencing you may be due to experience very up and down waves of like deja vu, but all things that are like divine connected, like the things that take reality and twist it or change it or make you go, whoa, you know? Lots of that happening for lots of people. Even if it's not happening externally, internally, I think it can happen to even those who are unaware in shifts in moods. If you find yourself feeling one way in one moment and then another the next, and you think to yourself, this is interesting that I feel that way because earlier I was feeling like this, or yesterday you had an amazing day, today you're having a terrible day. Yeah. It's the vibe. It's the energy work that you're doing without even being aware of it. We are all doing so much energetic work and surrendering and evolving beyond anything we each thought were possible for us and for the world. Crazy to believe, but if you can believe it and find a way to constantly know it, you genuinely will see and experience real miracles, like all that stuff that we've all been talking and yapping on about. I'm feeling into, hi Zahra, there is no free reading, no. You can reach out to me though. I'm open to like negotiating ways in which I can be helpful. So depending on the vibe, whether or not we click, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. Yeah, and then we can take it from there. And that's all I can say right now. Otherwise, no, this is not a free reading live. I'm feeling into a lot of people who may be hearing stuff like this, who also already believe it energetically, like you've been in the practice of manifesting an energetic, like incarnation, working with your life, bringing things forward, but it still feels like either you don't believe it, you're not really settling fully into like living your reality in that way. Something about that still feels scary to you. Like you're still dancing with the line of where delusional is and you're trying to be realistic, but you're actually being pessimistic, you know? And either that or like nothing has been happening. You've been in a very long period of like stagnancy and stillness. And hi, Lisa, I'm okay, thank you. You've been in a very long period of like stagnancy and stillness, and you're not seeing. It's been some time since you've seen big results of how you manifest. Nothing big has happened. Basically, putting it plainly, there are these little glimmers of joy that have happened, that I think that I'm feeling into. You've experienced fairly, like you've experienced these joys fine. You were present enough, but you're still feeling, oh yeah, okay, something's missing. Yeah, I'm getting the feeling of people who hear these things, they hold the belief of, yes, miracles are possible, but it's like, it's still flat. Like the living experience still doesn't really, it still doesn't feel that way. You know, you feel it. Okay, I'm trying to find the separation for this because I feel like my struggle in verbalizing this emotion also has to do with the dissonance you may be experiencing in your personal life where you hold the miracles, you believe them, you know them, but you're not seeing them. So it's like all this energetic work that you've done, it falls flat because your reality is not, it's still not matching that. That is a difficult frequency to verbalize and speak on because of, like I said, the dissonance and how the risk of hopelessness and of how you've been doing so much work. I'm feeling into a sense of like you're so close to giving up, but you're right there. And I don't know, even in frequency, in energy, like you're so close to like letting yourself go. I'm feeling into somebody who keeps up a routine, or you keep up a very strict way of thinking and of like a mind repetition. Like you're kind of in spiritual or energetic training right now, and you've been trying to apply the energetic science of what you learned through affirmations or working on your spiritual hygiene, praying, creating your ritual, doing all of that shit, but it's still, and you felt the changes, you know it's true, but it's still falling flat. And I feel called to, hold on, baby, I feel called to offer in this intuitive channeling as much encouragement as I can to tell you to not give up. You are unbelievably close. Like you would laugh. It's like, oh my gosh. Do you remember South Africans? I don't know which radio show this was on. I think it was on 94.7, where you play this open the vault game, and they open amounts of money, and you don't know. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at explaining things. Also, I'm Pisces rising, like tropical Pisces rising. My head is like in the clouds most times. So you play a game, where they say out an amount of money, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 50,000. It's random. You don't know how much is going to come next. And it could also, the next thing this voice calls out could also say vault closed. Then that's your opportunity to win money done. So you're supposed to keep going, and I guess through your instinct, say stop. And then they stop, and then you win whatever amount of money that was said, or an accumulation of that. I don't know. Someone can correct me if you're in on this and you know what the actual thing is. But anyway, then after you say stop, they say, okay, let's play the rest of what this voice was going to say. Let's play the rest of the sequence to hear what you could have won or what could have happened. And I'm seeing that, I'm feeling into how you're playing that game and you want to say stop, but the next number that this voice calls could be something like 1 million. You know what I mean? You've been getting 2,000, 50,000, 3,000, 50,000 even is huge, but even that's still tiny to the 1 million, the prize that you're about to get if you just wait out a little more, just a little more. And that is to say, just keep up with your rituals, keep up with whatever energetic work you found that at least keeps you grounded. You know what I mean? I also get the sense that I think that, like I said, I'm reading for like people the sensitives, and we were taught our sensitivities through very, very dark experiences and feelings and interactions. And the amount of joy that we are spiritually trying energetically and even psychologically, right? Trying to like reach into, the amount of layers we have to shed of darkness and doubtful beliefs and really dark assumptions about the world. It's a lot. And we cannot jump from like 0 to 100. We are going to get burned. It's going to feel so uncomfortable. We're probably going to be crying all the time. If we got everything we wanted, like tomorrow, all at one time, we would never stop crying. Energetically, I think we'd honestly be traumatized. We'd be physically traumatized because we are used to experiencing life in this one very dark, foggy, confusing way. So the jump from here to here, our angels, our universe, our soul, our God, they're trying to make sure that this transition is smooth and gentle on your body and even on the people around you, because it's also, when you get what you want, it's going to be a reflection of who you are. It's going to be big. It's going to be everything you wanted. You know what this thing is. When you get it, it's going to be a reflection of who you are. It's going to, more of your truth is going to spill over. You know what I mean? It's going to be unavoidable. And people around you are going to have to get used to that truth. I get the sense that maybe this dream or the way that our lives are going to unfold in terms of what we've always wanted all our lives for ourselves, we want it because of how much it will help us break into love and essentially break free from the fear and hate or whatever the fuck. That, like I'd mentioned earlier, is a huge part of our experience. So it's obviously going to be a huge part of who we are. An example of like you achieving or like getting into your dream union. People around you who are used to seeing you one way are going to have to get used to receiving you in this way, where you're in union with this connection that you've always prayed for. You're obviously going to be so happy, so joyful, and so changed, so different. I also get the sense that even if it's not a union or coming to your dream job or your dream financial status or whatever, it's going to change who you are as a person, right? It's going to merge with our field of understanding what life is about, which is obviously going to understand what we are about in reflection to the way we understand life. You get everything you want that you prayed for. You're obviously going to believe in God more than you have, right? That's what happens. We're human. We're going to believe in God on such a divine level that will obviously change the way we embody divinity, because we're seeing it now. We're experiencing the thing, you know? It's quite a jump. But imagine how a celebrity's psyche changes from being someone unknown to being somebody very famous. That kind of jump, I feel, is something we're going to have to adjust to. Not to say we're going to be famous, but we will achieve the kind of we'll achieve the kind of achievement that would fill us up, you know? Not remembering as well that this is not all of what we get is going to bring up a feeling, and that feeling, the experience of that feeling is who we really are, right? So this is all to get to remember and learn about who we are, who we really are. That is the overarching, that is the theme I think is going to come out over and over again in the intuitive channelings that I do, is the spiritual quest of these times that we're in, the importance of the connection to the other worlds, the greater than. Lots of super exciting things happening in the greater than, in the cosmos, by the way, that I highly recommend everybody look into, even just casually, you know. It's so fascinating. And it becomes so obvious that there's definitely some kind of God, something way bigger than our understanding that can orchestrate the way stars explode. Like, that is so much energy. That is so much energy. And God, or whatever the energy is that controls the way everything moves, can do that. That is mind-blowing. Can you time the way a star explodes so that the way that comet flies from that star lands in the solar system 5 billion years later, like on time, 5 billion years later? That is too much for me. It's too much. See, yeah, exactly, Lisa, exactly. And that comment there is actually very valuable in terms of how the spiritual work that we're going through is happening. Like, that's the root of it right there. Not until you've been put into a situation that you see life in a different light. That's exactly what's happening. We're all being put in different situations in order to expand our perspective and get a greater spectrum of experiencing life, in order to expand our personal spectrums. And it's up to you how far that can expand. Right now, you can bust the whole spectrum open and you can exist in a reality where there are truly no bounds, but you have to surrender and you have to trust and you have to be willing to see what happens after that. You can't just yap on about, okay, yeah, I'll surrender, but then not actually surrender and not actually be willing to make a risky, impulsive decision. Yes, it will be a risky situation, a risky decision, but if it feels true within you and it feels guided within, then clearly there's something that's supposed to happen after. You know what I mean? That you have to sit through and be patient with and be willing to experience in the moment. Yes. Open your willingness to experience things as they happen or as it comes. Open up to your response to things being, I don't know, we'll see what happens, you know? Yeah, we'll find out when we get there. You don't know. This is what you want, though. You know what I mean? Gemini placements. You guys are masters at this. Aries placements as well. This is all to say, if you have any of those in your community across astrology, so whether they're Aries or Gemini in sidereal or tropical, look to those people. Talk to them about the way that they manifest and about the things that they want from their lives. It is so inspiring, very inspiring to hear the way that they think, in my opinion. This is the reading now. I'm going to shuffle to see what comes up. Let's see what the cards say. I think I've yapped enough. Thank you so much for sitting through all of that. I feel so energized from everything that was just addressed, and I really hope it was helpful, especially the intuitive channelings, because it's really from my heart. Those are really from my heart. I'm going to shuffle more just to see. Okay, cool. And then one more. And then I think that'll be the story. I'm pulling 3 cards. Okay, wow. Oh, wow. This is interesting. All right. We received. Hold on, my baby, I'll answer. Hold on. We received the King of Rods, then the Strength card, and then the Queen of Rods. So, outside of the romantic implications that this always gives with the presence of the King and the Queen, and the Strength in the middle, I have to say this. The energy that I had been picking up on, specifically over the last week or so, about 2 people who are meant to be together but aren't because of something. Trust and believe that if by chance it is a union that you are trying to manifest in your life, it's like a dream union or relationship, know that you guys are literally on the opposite side of a mirror right now, which is incredible. You're both doing the same kind of work. And trust that you'll meet each other on the other side of that. Like, this is silly. I got the image of like, what is that show? Love is Blind. And how, and the image of like the doors opening. But that's random. I don't know. I suppose it's, okay. So the process, the process of how in Love is Blind, where you guys pretty much unpack all of your shit in those rooms. You know what I mean? That's what's happening right now. But you're not doing it to each other. You're doing it with your own selves. It's a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing. Yeah, you are going through a very spiritual thing right now. I'm also getting the sense of this happening within a person. So I think that this also, yes. Okay. So this, I think, very much has a very close link to do with what's happening with the sun right now. So I'm going to link a geophysicist who explores the solar motions, and I highly recommend that you keep up with the work that he does and the way that he relays information about what's happening astronomically, because I think that could be influencing the way you are doing your shadow work right now. I think we are all in a shadow work period as a collective, but whenever it is that you are watching this, timeless intention. And this shadow work that you're doing, deeply, deeply spiritual. So, okay, I want to try to be more practical in my readings. So I highly recommend that you look after your energy levels. You may need to uptake something to help your energy. So if you're a BioPlus person, I know too much of that isn't healthy. But otherwise, like water, lemon, and salt. Ginger, if you have it. All the natural herbs, if you're part of that gang. But otherwise, coffee, just something to upkeep your energy. Consider doing that in response to a possible dip in energy levels. That may be something you're going through. Baby, please stop. That may be something that you're going through. Pay attention to your dreams. Okay, if you are this type of person, this may be helpful for you. Consider putting your body through physical strain, like one of those ice cold baths, those hot and colds. I will also link this page. If you are based in Cape Town, if you're going to make your way to Cape Town at some point, there is a place that does this kind of therapy where the Sangoma that I consulted with, that I've raved on about before, who I deeply respect. Let me finish, baby. They work there, and they will be able to guide you through a breath work and like ice, one of those treatments to help process this energy. Because this feels very somatic. You have a lot of spiritual energy in waves. Okay, I'll make it. Stop. I'll make it. You have a lot of energetic processes that you're going through right now. And in order to help your flows happen, it may be useful to like put yourself through physical stress. Exercise, like intense exercise. I think that could be helpful as well. Or breath work, actually, just a simple breath work class. I think I'm only saying extreme because I am like a extreme person very naturally. So, so anything that helps me through these kinds of extreme traumatic processes always involves really pushing my body to the limit. Sometimes I fasting as well may be helpful for you. I'm trying to think of other spiritual, okay. If you are somebody who does this, you could also purge. But I honestly, on a personal, I am not, I tried purging once. I still need to process that experience. It's very intense, where you force yourself to regurgitate, drink plenty of liquids, and then kind of like wash your insides out in that process. Very, very intense, but extremely, extremely like guaranteed. This is giving a spiritual purge. It's giving that you're already going through one. In order to, I guess, like move the process along, you could do that, and it will guaranteed help you have a clearer mind afterwards. It'll change your dream state as well. Sorry, everyone, I'm trying to make a paper plane. I think it'll also change the way that you pray. It'll change your it'll kind of clear out the tubes that are connected to the other worlds. You know what I mean? So that you'll be able to hear better. It'll increase your intuition, hear intuitively. It'll improve your intuition. Yeah, it's very spiritually beneficial for you. It is, though, for me, very physically traumatizing. Like beyond a point where I'm just not used to yet. I'm extremely humbled by that experience. And that's also part of it. That's part of the spiritual medicine, is the state of humbleness that it puts you in. That humbleness could also be medicine in your journey. Whatever darkness or things you are uncovering about yourself, or about your loved ones, your community, or about life in general and the way that life works, be humble to it, knowing that this is darknesses and evils and systems that have been in place, that have penetrated all of us on a DNA level that seems tasked. I process this and go through my shadow work and write this line a lot better when I understand how much of life's evils are set up for samsara. Samsara. Yeah, I looked for the pronunciation. It's samsara. It's just the deal. The presence of darkness, it's the deal. It's just part of it. And accepting the feature of how it grows you, and it adds like character development, and certain kind of darknesses turn you into a certain kind of person that's like a specific kind of useful for the stories that you're supposed to be living out. You know what I mean? It's just part of the thing. So surrendering to that and trusting that nothing would exist without God's instruction, and knowing that God is who I'm working for, all of that. It's been very helpful for me. That may also be something that you are initiated into with the presence of these two cards. The presence of those balancing, those contradictions, the contradictions that are like part of God's story, I guess, that are part of the spiritual journey. How you find joy through the experience of pain, how all of that happens, so that yeah. Beneath you also have the Six of Swords and the Queen of Discs, and then I'm seeing the Ten of Rods that insists on showing itself as well. I'm getting the frequency of a very exhausted mom, and how that exhausted mom is going through that exhaustion because she's like becoming. She's in a shadow work period to learn how to ride the lion. And that's her own thing that she's going through, but she's covered. Like she's got her own like thing. She's got her own spiritual guarding, with these two present, it's giving a union in your spiritual workings. So regardless of the kind of shadow work that you're doing, there is a harmony in it. If you haven't already adopted this thought or affirmation, then I suggest you repeat it often until it really settles, and you'll feel it when it like clicks into your energetic body and you're able to remember it more often and understand it better, that like life's tragedies and the suffering and stuff is just part of it. It's just part of the deal. And just you're not expected to do anything but just be real through it. Just experience the shit, man. You know what I mean? Just experience it and be real about it as you're experiencing it, and know that it's only temporary and that you will move on from it. This card speaks of specifically traveling from it's the energy of traveling into like something new, from a period of suffering, from a kind of darkness. This valley is so dark, and where they're going to is a lot clearer, smoother, you know? Yeah, a mother or a home keeper, someone who tends to a home and who is exhausted in the act of doing so. And maybe somebody who does that and doesn't understand why they're so exhausted, it's because you're going through an energetic washing, a spiritual washing. I'm also getting the frequency of somebody who is evening out energetic tension from their maternal and paternal side. Something about what's happening within you now, it's evening out. If you come from a bloodline or from a family where your parents are split, where they don't see eye to eye, where one is like, maybe one is not present, you don't know what happened to them, or they passed on, whatever, that does cause a kind of spiritual fissure, like a zzz, you know what I mean? Again, even if your parents are like in your life, but they're not in union, like, or they're present in the same space, but they aren't able to energetically gel with each other, even if they're arguing. That causes an energetic in you, regardless of anything, you know, because you are a product of their union. So I'm getting your responsibility, which is something you also have to accept. I'm also getting the acceptance of that, the acceptance of your responsibility in your role in that, as the love child of people who, you know, who never got along, were never unionized, who aren't energetically on the same page, you know. I know that this is giving black sheep, firstborn child, or I'm receiving the firstborn child of somebody, of one person who is now part of a family where that person is married to someone else, like a stepchild, kind of. But yeah, random frequency. Anyway, point is, there's some shadow work, maternal and paternal shadow work I'm getting. I'm also receiving, because I know what it feels like to come from that. And for what helped for me, I'm receiving that I should mention that what helped for me to process that is praying to my ancestors and praying to them to say, like, whatever energetic beef that you have with each other, please don't exert it through me, or don't put it in my body, or whatever. I just want peace. So if you're going to work through me as my ancestors, work peacefully and together. I understand that externally, you guys, it doesn't represent, there's no visual of togetherness or experience of it, but if you're going to work through me, you're together. So that whole statement, the line from the poem, I can't remember, Wasanshaya, I think. The line that said, on my face, my mom and my dad are still together. That kind of thing. Own that. I'm getting the need to energetically own that. That you are a product of two people who have their own lineages, and all of them are with you. They have no choice. They have no choice. Your blood and their blood is the same. Your blood is their blood. They have to be with you, and an acknowledgement of that too, that you are very guarded. Oh yes, if there is a parent structure that you have who's not nice to you, or who didn't give you the kind of care that you needed, or even now you need them and they're not there for you, pray to their parents, pray to their ancestors and their lineage and tell them, I have an issue. Your child is not showing up for me. Please, I need you. You'll be so surprised at how that changes things. I've seen experiences where people do that. They're in a rah-rah with their parent. They pray to their ancestors, the parent's ancestors. Next day, parent calls or messages and says, I'm sorry for the way that I acted. Or something opens up. Something just energetically opens up. Even you may wake up with a different approach on how to handle some that rah-rah with your parent. And then you manage to share or express yourself in a way that creates peace between you, you know? Prayer. If you're not already on it, this is a card of like a praying couple more than anything. And a couple that is so energetically locked in that they know exactly what to do and what choices to make and the timing of it. They work very intuitively. This is a double up on intuition to me and on to energetic connection. Either a couple or these two energies present within you. The ability to basically move reality and move energy. I'm getting Undone. If you haven't watched it already, I yapped on about it the first time I experienced it, and I've linked it somewhere there. I'll link it again here. I highly recommend you watch it. Random one. Watch Undone. Might also be super, super helpful in the energetic processes of this. It speaks of this kind of lineage work, essentially, and how that lineage work doesn't leave you. Even if you come from a broken home, you cannot just go out into the world and, yes, you want to remake your reality so that your reality looks different than what that broken home was. But you cannot run away from that broken home, right? You can't just block it out. And a lot of people who come from that sad past and seek a more joyful option, when they seek, they want to let go and release all of this completely. And this card specifically also with the shadow work, with the mention of shadow work, speaks of how you can't do that. You have to take all of it with you. You can still go for your joy, but you can never exist as if you didn't go through what you went through. It's like, and this happens so much in the city that I live in Johannesburg. People get famous, especially here. They get famous here in Johannesburg. And then they act totally fresh. They switch the fuck up and they no longer know their homies. They can no longer recognize their best friends. They always get caught up. They're getting lost in the sins of the city, or in the sins of any big city. I imagine this happens in any country, actually. I think this happens in any collective. That shit always catches up to you. It always catches up to you. And yes, spiritual karma is so real. I'm also getting with these cards that you'll understand how real spiritual karma is. Or you're understanding it right now. You're experiencing it right now. Especially extending on the reference that I mentioned earlier, if you are the love child of two people who just like, who kind of, it's like they made you recklessly, they created you recklessly. Yeah, big that is now your spiritual burden. But don't think that those two people are just going to waltz away in their lives, kind of neglecting the energetic responsibility that they have over you and over having created you. It always comes back, always. Anything created, anything energetic, nothing is created just willy-nilly. Everything that exists has its own weight, A respect of that as well, a respect of the cycles. Everything spiritual, honestly, that you can do right now, you should do it. Everything spiritual you can think about, you should think about it. Consider it, contemplate it, sit with it. I'm also getting the possibility of like cooking being helpful for you. Doll up your home if by chance you are feeling exhausted or kind of looking for some kind of like, you're trying to even out a brain fog or like a spiritual, energetic fog, a sense of feeling tired or even foggy, and you can't find the root of it. You can't explain why. I'm also receiving a possible sense of maybe you feel detached from your like living, like you're moving on autopilot a lot. Yeah. Doll up your home. Cook a really delicious meal for yourself. Get yourself flowers. Get yourself flowers. Put on makeup for yourself. Dress up for nothing. You know, try on an outfit that you really like. Yeah, man. Do something nice for no reason, but just because you know it's nice, it makes you feel nice. Paint your nails. Do something, for you. Do something for you. Yes. Do something for you. Okay, now I'm really getting into a frequency of a very exhausted woman. Super, super tired and just doesn't do enough for herself. She does enough to make everything kind of go well. She knows how to run a machine, but she's neglected the machine of our heart. This is also heart work. The strength card, heart chakra. So heart chakra meditations, highly recommend that during this time. And sacral, womb massages. If you're not into it, get into it ASAP. ASAP. So, 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 so important. Daily. If I don't do it daily at this point, as of about like 2 weeks and a bit now, if I don't do it daily, I am a miserable, confused person for the rest of the day. It's terrible. I have a very codependent relationship with my rituals at this point. I feel called to read the interpretation of the Queen of Discs. This speaks of a natural beautifier. She loves comfort and her home. Often very beautiful, she's ambitious, competent, and energetic. She's highly skilled in most practical situations, especially to do with the home or business. She makes things happen. Yeah. So I suppose that's an acknowledgement then of everything that you do, whether or not you are a woman, whatever gender you identify with. Excuse me. Okay. Whatever gender you identify with. The universe is acknowledging you, and so you should acknowledge yourself, as in this might uplift your frequency a bit and help with any shadow work that you are doing right now, to acknowledge yourself for how you are able to bring a feeling of beauty and home to things. You may be a Cancer in your personal placements across both systems. You really identify with the feeling of being chill, and you know how to embody it, and you know how to make it happen in a space. You know how to play the right chill music. You know how to make the right chill drink. You know how to chill, you know how to have chill conversation. Your energy, your vibe is amazing, essentially. It's a really, really wonderful vibe. And I feel called to also bring up the fact that it's because of the shit that you've been through and how you processed it. So shout out. Shout out to your shadow work, for real. Then let's do strength, the strength card. And then I think I'll close off with that, actually. This card speaks of release and resolution of unconscious material, your deepest fears, confusions, desires, anger, sexual urges, their transformation into spiritual energy. Yeah. Your deepest fears, confusions, anger, desires, and sexual urges, their transformation into spiritual energy. Emerging from difficulties with increased inner strength. Yep. Emerging from difficulties with increased inner strength and endurance. Courage, hope, and calm assertion. That's it. That's entirely it. Yes. Congratulations. Congratulations. This is a lot of like really fucking intense spiritual work that may have reflected mentally, like in the way that you thought, like you may have been going or are still going through possibly like lots of crazy turbulent thoughts, like your head cannot keep still and it's causing you to panic. You may be experiencing or have experienced intense waves of anxiety and like a disassociation and just a sense of not knowing what the fuck is what, you know? That is a spiritual process. And shout out to you for being so patient through that and not projecting and like outbursting to other people in a way that's like extremely harmful. Maybe you have outbursted to people, but I don't get the sense that I'm reading for somebody who doesn't at least take accountability or is aware. This is the card of somebody who is so focusedly and intently aware that if anything should skip them, they get really upset about it. Yeah. This is also somebody with very intense control issues and anger issues. But again, lots of like spiritual work goes into that. I do think that anyone with intense emotions, they are very spiritual people. They're very energetic people. And so naturally, they're very spiritual people. So yeah, shout out to you, spiritual person, for doing that work. And thank you again, because this also, in the wrong hands, this kind of energy can be extremely harmful. These are very dangerous people if they're not regulated. This energy in one person, shout out, you know, you could be doing crack. Yeah, you could be doing crack. So thank you for being present, you know, and trying your best to do so. Thank you for being alive, as always. That's all I have for this reading. A pretty long one. I will timestamp when the reading starts so that, yeah, that was just for me and me. Anyway, thank you so much for being present.